Today we're going to talk about inequalities. And so far we've been working with equations for the last couple of years, but now we're going to talk about inequalities. That means not equal. So I want you to put the title at the top of your page, Introduction to Inequalities, and put today's date in the top right corner. You have some familiarity with inequalities. Now, less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, you know this stuff. Sometimes some people make this maybe like an alligator or something. And it has like that, and it eats the bigger number, something like that. Or I've seen people do the Pac-Man thing, where it looks like this, and you have Pac-Man there, and he eats the bigger number. But today, we're going to talk about them as they are related to equations. So far, what we've been dealing with are equations, something like this, like 2x plus 7 equals 21. This is an equation because it has an equal sign. But today, we're not using equations, we're using inequalities. So we're not doing this today. We're going to use, instead of an equal sign, we're going to use an inequality sign. So write down all these inequalities: less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. We're also going to graph them. So here's how you graph an inequality. We graph them on a number line. So if x is less than 5, I know I'm going to put a circle on 5. Now, we have open circles and closed circles. That's a little big for a circle. So make that a little smaller. We have open circles and closed circles. Here, since it's less than 5, it's going to be an open circle. And here's how I like to explain it. X can't be 5, because if we put 5 here, 5 is not less than 5, so it couldn't be 5. So it has to be an open circle because it can't be that. Okay, now we have to put an arrow exactly where x is at all times. So what could we plug in for x? Well, we could plug in 3, because 3 is less than 5, right? We could plug in 0. 0 is less than 5. We could plug in negative 27.5, because negative 27.5 is less than 5. So how could we represent all of those things for x? Because we can plug in anything for x that's less than 5. Well, we're going to make a line, and then at the end we're going to make an arrow, because that arrow is going to represent everything else down that line. Now, you should be able to plug anything in for this x, and it should work. So let's see, 4 is on the line, so 4 is less than 5, so that works. 1 is less than 5, that works. So that line represents everything that the variable could possibly be. Now let's try a is greater than 0. Now, a can't be 0, so it has to be greater than 0. So we put an open circle there. And we're going to shade in everything that is greater than 0. Well, I could put a 1 in there, right? Because 1 is greater than 0. I could put a 3 in there, because 3 is greater than 0. I could put 1,000 in there, because 1,000 is greater than 0. And we need to shade everything greater than 0, because that's what a is. So we're going to do this. So you should be writing these down. So anything, and that arrow represents anything greater than that we can't fit on the number line, because we're not going to make a gigantic number line. So now, what happens when we have less than or greater, or less than or equal to? Here, y is less than or equal to 2. So I'm going to put a filled in circle on the 2. Now, you may ask, why is it filled in and not open? Well, if we put 2 in here, less than or equal to 2, isn't 2 equal to 2? And that's what that little line means, less than or equal to. So we have to include the 2 in it. So we have to represent everything that y could be. Now, y could be 0, because 0 is less than or equal to 2. Y could be negative 5, because negative 5 is less than or equal to 2. What couldn't y be? Well, y couldn't be 4, because 4 is not less than or equal to 2, so we couldn't use that. So 4 could not be it, because 4 is all the way over here. So since 4 can't be it, anything less than 2, which represents y, can be it. So we're going to put our mark this way. And remember, it's a closed circle because it includes 2. So here, with m greater than 3, we know that the circle has to be on 3, and it's going to be a closed circle since m is greater than 3. So m's greater than 3, so anything greater than 3 has to be shaded, which means 4 and 5. It's greater than or equal to 3, so 3 also is included there. So it's going to go that way. So make sure you copy these down. So remember, when it's just less than or just greater than, it's an open circle. When it's less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, it is a closed circle. So how does that look like with inequalities like this? This is just like an equation. We're going to solve it just like we solve any equation. So we have x plus 7 is less than negative 10. So I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides and put that down the middle. So I have x, that cancels, and here this is a less than, and negative 10 minus 7, keep, change, opposite. Negative 10 plus negative 7 is negative 17. Now, am I going to make an entire number line? No, I'm not. What I'm going to do is draw one just like this, and I'm going to find negative 17. I'm going to put negative 17 right in the middle. Now, what would go over here? Actually, negative 16 would go over here, and negative 18 would go over here, because 0 is somewhere over here. So remember, it's an open circle on negative 17, and which one of these is less than negative 17? Well, negative 18 is less than negative 17, so I know that it has to be going this way. So you don't have to make a huge number line, just make one like that. So what about number 2 here? Let's do the same thing. T minus 11 is less than or equal to negative 22. So I'm going to draw a line, add 11, because it's negative, add 11. So now I have just t left over here, and I have less than or equal to. And then negative 22 plus 11, signs are different, find the difference. Difference between 22 and 11 is 11. Bigger one's negative, so it's negative 11. Now, same thing. Let me draw a number line. Put negative 11 in the middle. We don't need all those other numbers. And remember, negative 10 should be over here because 0 is somewhere over here. Negative 12 over here. And it's going to be a closed circle this time because it's less than or equal to. So t is less than or equal to negative 11. So I know that 12 is less. 12 could fit on there. 12 could be t. So I'm going to put the arrow that way. Let's try number 3 together. Z plus 6 is greater than or equal to negative 3. So I'm going to draw the line. Minus 6, z is greater than or equal to, well, negative 3 minus 6, negative 3 plus negative 6 is negative 9. And when we make the number line, put negative 9 in the middle, I'll put negative 8 over here, and negative 10 over here. So it's greater than or equal to, z is greater than or equal to negative 9, so I'm going to do a closed circle here since it's including negative 9. Remember, negative 9 could be z, so we close the circle, and it's greater than that. So greater than means going to the right. Okay. Solve these just like equations, and then graph. I want you to try these two on your own. Okay, welcome back. Let's try this. X plus 2 is less than or equal to 8. So let's subtract 2, subtract 2. So x is less than or equal to 6. Now let's graph it. Not going to do a whole number line. I'm just going to do a little one because I just don't have time, right? I mean, it's crazy to do all those numbers. So if x is less than or equal to 6, it's a closed circle because it includes 6. Now, what can I plug in for x? What's less than or equal to 6? Well, 7, I couldn't do that because 7 is not less than 6. Okay? That would not work. Okay? So, I know that 5 would work, so I'm going to put the arrow that way. Everything x, this line represents x, which is everything less than or equal to 6. So let's try number 5. So, line there, plus 1, plus 1. Those cancel. W is less than 9. So, on a number line, we have 9, we have 10, and we have 8. So, I'm going to have an open circle on 9 because W cannot be 9. It's less than 9. 9 is not less than 9. 8 is less than 9, so I know I have to put the arrow that way. Okay, remember, solve these just like you solve regular equations, and then graph. Remember, when we have less than or equal to, it's a closed circle, or greater than or equal to, it's a closed circle. When we have just less than or just greater than, it is an open circle.